There's a story about Jesus that I particularly love. One day, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's go to the other side of the lake." So they all got into the boat and Jesus went to sleep. In the middle of the lake, a terrible storm broke out. The disciples were experienced sailors and they knew the lake very well. But this storm was different. The boat began to sink. But Jesus stayed asleep through it all, lying in the middle of the boat with his head on a pillow. Frustrated, the disciples roughly shook Jesus awake. "We're drowning," they said. "Don't you care?" Jesus got up, and with one word, he calmed the storm. Suddenly the winds dropped, and the waves ceased. It went from a raging storm to a mill pond. That shows something supernatural had happened, because usually, even when the wind drops, the waves take a while to subside. Then something very curious happened. The disciples were even more afraid. They were more terrified in the still of the mill pond than they had been in the raging storm. Why? Because Jesus' identity began to dawn on them. This ordinary man who was tired and fast asleep was also God, because only God can calm a storm like that. Do you find that when someone tells a story, you relax just a bit? We all love stories. They're engaging and unintimidating. They're personal and intriguing. Here's another story. A while ago, I was giving an evangelistic talk to some city workers during their lunch break. There was a Q&A afterwards, and someone objected to what I'd said. "Are you really saying, Jeremy, that if there were two people in the city, one was a scoundrel and a crook, and wasted all his money on drugs and prostitutes, but came to faith at the end of their life, they would be accepted by God? But if there was someone else who had lived a very moral life and given lots of money to charity, but felt no need of God, they wouldn't be forgiven? It doesn't make any sense." It was a good, open, and honest question. I wonder how you would have answered it. This is what I said. It's funny you should ask me that because people asked Jesus the very same question, and this is what he said. And I told him, as you also would be able to do, the story of the prodigal son and his brother. It went something like this. Jesus told a story about a man who had two sons. One day, the younger one came to him and said, "Dad, I want my inheritance now." He was basically saying, "I wish you were dead, Dad." The father gave him his share, and the young man went off and lived the high life. Soon, there was a terrible economic crash, and he ran out of money. To survive, he had to take care of pigs, which was the ultimate humiliation for a good Jewish boy. One day, he thought to himself, "This is crazy. I'd be better off as one of my dad's servants." And he set off.